Hey, how you guys doing? So let's talk about something. So unless you've been living under a rock or in a cave for the last few months, you would have heard about this whole anti-diversity manifesto scandal that came out of Google. Right? You got this guy, James Damore, or however you pronounce his name, an engineer for Google, wrote this manifesto about how Google should stop worrying about diversity and employing minorities like blacks and Mexicans and females because they just don't have the drive or the compunction to actually do an engineering job like Google's programming and stuff like that. They're not into these kind of fields, and so Google should stop doing promotion to hire people of this caliber. Wow, really? But let's what I mean, outside of the merits or demerits, if you will, if I can use that term loosely. I'm not going to argue its veracity, its applicability, or anything like that. I'm just going to discuss the business lessons of Google's anti-diversity manifesto scandal. All right, so let's get into that. Hi guys, I'm Jay Burnham, and this is the Real Jay Burnham Show. So glad that you guys are coming. But before we start, I got a request for you. I asked that you go over here. Sorry, wrong side. Go down there, hit the red button. It says subscribe. Click on it. Subscribe to my channels, and you'll get great, amazing content. Access to the content to teach you how to start, run, and build a successful and profitable business. All right, guys. So the other day, there was a scandal that broke in the major news media about Google. Some guy, an engineer, not a senior position, but a lower position, a young lad, probably in his mid to late 20s, wrote this manifesto or memo, which has come to be known as the Google Anti-Diversity Manifesto, where he describes that Google should stop running campaigns to hire females and minorities like blacks to Google because they don't have the will or the mental fortitude to do this kind of work, which is programming or science and mathematics. He actually says that the females have a empathetic skill set that makes them unqualified for the kind of work that Google is demanding because they're less decisive, they're less aggressive, etc., etc. Oh, James. Oh, you're a moron, man. All right, I'm not going to get into it, but you're a moron. I mean, seriously. First of all, keep your mouth shut, right? Just keep your mouth shut. I mean, you can have your opinions, and I'm not saying your opinions are wrong, and I'm not saying your opinions are right. But sending a memo throughout the entire company regarding your specific opinions and not based off of any scientific research or any kind of studies or anything like that. It's just simply foolish. No, sorry, it's not even foolish. That's actually that has insinuates a sense of ignorance, but it's not ignorance. It comes from just plain stupidity and a bit of arrogance as well, right? Dude, pull your head out of your ass. You've already been fired. Hopefully you won't return this. And now you're basically, for the next few weeks or so, you're going to be a media pariah. No one's going to hire you at any kind of institution where you're doing what you're doing. Okay? They're just not, because they're going to know your name. You're going to have to let this, blow down for a couple of months, and then it'll go away, and then you can get back into finding a job. Sorry, that's the ramifications of such actions. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reactions. But after looking at this situation, I've come up with several different lessons that we all can learn from James Damore's stupidity and Google's inability to control the situation. Because yes, Google had failed here too. James Damore wrote this anti-diversity manifesto. It went viral internally, but somehow it got out to the press, which created a bigger fervor and a PR black eye for Google, right? And also, it created, let's face it, a hostile work environment, right? Because let's be honest here. The environment that this young man would have made, he would not have been able to being put on any project because he would have upset and alienated a good portion, not just the minorities, not just the females, but also his male colleagues. He would have alienated and upset. Therefore, he would not have been able to work with these particular people on a project. And then those people who would work with him, they too are now going to be associated with James, and they will not be able to work with the greater whole of the organization. Now, there was a great article on Medium, I forget his name's Younger or something like that, where he described a little bit about this phenomena that, just because you're an engineer doesn't mean you're out on a computer plugging in ones and zeros. No, it takes interpersonal skills. These interpersonal skills, which you said are female skills, that it takes to actually work with other departments and organizations to create a particular product or service in Google, right? And now you've just made it so that you've created a hostile environment. And in the same sense, you are being a representation of Google, being an employee has created a PR backlash that's not appropriate, right? Google's done the right thing. They fired you. First, they suspended you. Now they have actually fired you. There's actually a lesson in that. We're going to go over that here in a second. But let's get into these lessons of what happened. Because you guys all know the story. It's on the news, it's a big mess. But let's go after the business lessons about what we can learn from this. Because again, yeah, you can go and watch videos about how this guy's an idiot, blah, blah, blah. I want to talk to you guys specifically about the business lessons and ramifications we can learn from this particular situation so that it doesn't happen in our businesses. Make sense? Okay, let's get into it. So first of all, your employees need to know, especially if it's an unpopular opinion, to keep their opinions to themselves. It is not appropriate for them to communicate their opinion to other employees. That said, you are going to have people who are like-minded and are going to agree with you. If you communicate with those, that's probably a good thing. But ideally, when you're in a workplace, your political, your religious, your unpopular opinions should be kept to yourself. You're there to work, not to politicize, not to prophesize. All right, you're there to work and do a specific job. All right, I'm not saying you can't do that with certain individuals, but it causes a lot more strife for you personally. So it should be a rule. It should be a rule, a mandate, law, whatever within the community that personal opinions are to remain personal. Personal is the key word. That means to oneself. Keep it to yourself. If you decide you want to express your opinions, take it off company time, put it on your own Facebook page, and go from there. That said, if James were to have done this manifesto with leaving out Google's name and put it on his own Facebook page and then was suspended and or fired, then he would have a discrimination case and I would be backing him up in this. He did not do that. He did this on company time, sent this entire manifesto to everybody internally, and it went viral internally because people were upset. They wanted other people to look at this moron. There are ramifications for every action. There's an equal and opposite reaction. That is a law of physics. It happens in our personal lives. Okay? Keep your personal opinions to that. Personal. Got it? Good. And as a business, you should make sure that your employees, if they have a personal opinion, take it elsewhere, leaving company information, company resources, and everything outside and not to be used at all for the dissemination and distribution of one's personal opinion. All right? 2, don't send memos to the company. Why is this guy writing this manifesto anyway and sending it and writing it internally? Is he trying to cause a trouble? Is he causing a problem purposely? Obviously, the answer to that is yes. He wanted to create a stir. Maybe he thought he was doing something right. Maybe he wanted to point out a problem that he felt. But it is not his job to spread that all over the company. If he felt that there was a problem with diversity, then he should have taken it up with the appropriate terminals in his organization and address it with them in private and in an environment that could have been safe not only for James, but for the company as well. James obviously wrote this out of his own personal frustrations and did not care or think about, obviously, the ramifications and results of his actions. That comes from immaturity. That becomes because he was raised by morons who obviously did not give this guy any sense of interpersonal skills. They obviously let him play video games and gave him a trophy for everything he did in life. Thank you. I was about ready to say to him, but that would have violated the business lessons. See, I'm keeping my personal opinions to myself. Just trying to show you that we all have to do it. All right? So don't send memos. It should be company policy. If you have a situation, you have a terminal that you would take it to, whether that be your immediate supervisor or another person within the organization, and or if it's a small business that only has a boss, take it to your boss. You do not discuss your problems, frustrations, dissatisfactions with other people in the organization. That causes dissent and can create a mutiny within that organization. It is not appropriate. It is not your job. Unless you see someone doing something that is illegal, it is not your job to tell your coworkers about the problem. And if the coworker listens to you and then spreads that coworker is now just as guilty as you are, and you both should be fired, not suspended, not reprimanded, not fired immediately at right now. Like, pack up your stuff, get out. Don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. That kind of fired, right? Period. You don't need that kind of people. If the people don't like working for you, they have the freedom to leave. If they want to try to fix something, which is admirable and noble and actually should be encouraged, absolutely. But they should do it in a standard way. In the military, there's the thing called chain of command. If you have a situation, you run it up the chain of command, right? You don't get satisfaction with your squad leader. You take it to your platoon sergeant. You don't have your platoon sergeant doesn't give it a satisfaction. You take it to your lieutenant. The lieutenant does it, then you take it to your captain. If the captain does it, then you take it to your general. And if that doesn't, then you just keep going all the way up. And it's called the chain of command. It works. It's a good system. It keeps people who are upset or dissatisfied or wishes that sees a problem to try to give them a terminal and a release of such problems. Do not send it out. If someone sends out a memo of their dissatisfaction, they should be fired immediately, whether it's positive and or negative. It doesn't matter. Okay? You got to rein that in. 3, this is the third lesson. If you notice a problem, then you should present a solution to that problem. Do not go and say, here's the problem, and walk away. If you notice a problem, then come up with a solution. It doesn't have to be the best solution. It just needs to be a workable solution from your viewpoint, from your perception. Do not give a problem without giving a solution. James, if you had this problem, you saw this problem, and you saw what Google was doing to do it, and you seen that it was a continual problem, what was your solution to solve it? Instead of complaining about it, instead of bitching about it, what would you have suggested that they do or implement to solve this problem? Because it is within Google's, I mean, it's all over the news. Even I know it, that Google wants diversity. That's what they want. Look at their logo. It's a rainbow. Hello? You know, they're from Silicon Valley, a place of high diversity, right? They want diversity. They embrace diversity. That's what they're all about. Whether I like it or not like it, whether you like it or not like it, that's what Google is about. Even I know it, and I don't work for the company. I have nothing to do with it except use their services. If I know it from as a layman, then by God, you should know that too. So if there was a problem you thought that Google wasn't solving or didn't know how to think, then what was a solution that you could present it to them to have solved this problem, to encourage more diversity, to encourage women to get more male skills, right? What would you have suggested? Classes, training, you know, maybe some sort of, you know, visual campaign, you know, social media campaign. What would have been that you thought that Google could have done differently or better? Come up with a solution. Therefore, guys, in your business, if somebody's coming to you with a problem, ask them what their solution is. Do not let somebody present to you in your business or in your field of management. Do not let somebody present to you a problem without also presenting a solution to that problem. It doesn't mean that solution is going to be workable, because maybe it's not, because we got to understand it's coming from one particular viewpoint. The guy might not have the entire picture, but if he sees a problem and he presents the problem with a solution, aren't you going to be a little bit more interested in accepting of what the guy has to present to you? Absolutely. So do not allow your employees or management, don't let your crew come to you with a problem without a solution. You should have that as a hard, fast rule, right? Doesn't mean that you're going to implement that solution, but they should have a solution, okay? Number 4, put in systems to keep the scandals internal. Remember I talked about that it got somehow this problem, this manifesto leaked to the press, and then that went viral? What the hell? I mean, they got worse leaks than the White House. I mean, come on. If there's a problem and you got somebody that's a moron, don't go spreading and then trying to make it look like this is Google's widespread virus that's spreading through it, that's infecting everybody. Because that is obviously, and I mean, I can see it from the outside looking in. I can see that Google has, I mean, did not tolerate this. I just know it, right? And I'm a layman coming from the outside, and I know as soon as this thing, I'm going, oh man, Google hated this. But who in their right mind said, hey, let me leak this to the press? Why would you do that unless you too are starting to cause problems? Therefore, if you find that anybody has leaked something like this to the press or has created some sort of public relations black eye, they should too be terminated as well. And anybody around that knew about it should be terminated as well. This is not appropriate. You keep that stuff internally. Unless it's someone's doing something illegal, we don't care. That's your internal stuff. Leave it internally. No one needs to see the skeletons in your closet. I know there are a lot of people that love to see like major corporations fail, but that's your job. I mean, that should be you're there to work and have some loyalty. Google's very loyal to you people who work for them. They love you guys. They go bend over backwards to make sure that you guys are happy and satisfied in your job. And then you go and stab them in the back and spread this horrible manifesto, this horrible memo to what? To give Google a black eye? That's ridiculous. I know immediately that was sent. I know Google was all over it. Management was all over trying to figure out what was going on. I guarantee it. I mean, one of the first news reports that I heard about is Google has this manifesto anti-diversity, and they suspended the guy who wrote it. They didn't give the name of the guy right away. I mean, that came later. But when the first news thing, even Google had already suspended James from his position, right? But I mean, and now Google's playing catch up to, now they've got to get press releases and formal statements and apologies and blah, 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 when they could have handled it internally. So if you find anybody that is doing something like that, they're an enemy to your business, and you need to get rid of them. And you need to cut out the cancer, because they have influenced a certain amount of people within their sphere. You need to find out who they are and get rid of them as well. Because if you do not cut out the cancer, that cancer is going to spread, and it's going to cause strife and mutinies and problems and a hostile work environment throughout the entire organization. Within your if you got a small business, like I've got a very small business, that's something that could actually destroy your business. Get rid of it, and get rid of it fast. All right? 5. These all lead to what would be common sense. Fire the guy. Fire the people he's related to that agree with him. Fire everybody, because it's a cancer. Get rid of them. Don't suspend. Don't reprimand. Don't put in a corner. Give them a timeout. None of that hippy-dippy liberal crap. Fire them. Fire them with prejudice. Get rid of them. Do not suspend. Fire. And if they've done something illegal, prosecute. Get rid of them. It should be that simple. I mean, these rules that I just said should all be common sense. Right? This should have been something that was handled internally within Google. It should never been in the press. We should never be hearing about it. There shouldn't be all these people writing articles about it. And the fact that it would mean that everybody dropped the ball, from management all the way down. Right? Period. I mean, it was a fustercluck. Okay? Let's call it what it was. It was a fustercluck. And Google, shame on you for letting it get to this far. You should have nipped it in the bud far longer than you did. So that comes a fault because of your organization's so big. There is a lot of red tape and a lot of hoops to jump through. You should give somebody an authority to handle something like this immediately. Your HR department should have just went, bam, nuked it, got rid of it, and that was it. It would have been done and over with. As soon as that manifesto was sent out, it should have been like, Fort Knox, shut down like that. So Google, you failed in that regards. To the people that worked with James and knew about his predilections on anti-diversity and diversity and so on and so forth, shame on you. You should have went and reported it and said, hey, look, he's communicating things that are not fitting with the company's motto and motives. You should have had the fortitude to either tell James personally, hey, knock this off, and if that didn't work, then go on to your superior or a terminal in HR or something and say, hey, this is not right, right? There should be a safe space to report things like this. This is why little anthills turn into huge mountains, right? Because this was an anthill by one person that turned into a huge mountain. All right, guys, these are the lessons that I feel that we should all learn from. I'm not saying Google's good or bad. I'm not saying James is a good or bad guy. I just think that what he did was stupid. I'm not saying that his opinion was good, and I'm not saying his opinion bad, and I'm not going to talk about the politics of his opinion or the rightnesses or wrongnesses of his opinion. What I'm saying is what he did, the actions he took were stupid, and that should have been shut down. And if these rules were in place, it would never have gotten as far as it did, right? All right, guys. Thank you so much. If you like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Go and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share this with all your family and friends. The more you guys do that, the better my videos perform, and I get to get this message out to more and more people. Other than that, guys, I wish you the best day. I hope it's a great day. Good luck. Bye-bye.